Nomad Podcast.
Marc, how are you?
I'm fine, Yanis. Thank you.
My first question for you is, how did you get into Bitcoin?
It's a funny story, actually. The first time I crossed the path with Bitcoin was in 2011 when a client of mine in my financial strategic consultant company asked me if he should invest €1,000 into Bitcoin, and I said no, don't do it. It's a scam. It's internet magic money. Come on, it's definitely a scam. It's so obvious. And back then, I think the price was below €1. And I just told him, don't do it. But he did it, fortunately, because later on he made the right decision, to be clear. But the second time I crossed paths with Bitcoin was in 2013 when I did the research for my second book. I looked for a better monetary system. I was a gold bug back then. And then I made a research and I found, I think it was a Reddit article about Bitcoin. And I was like, oops, this is still around. I'm surprised because I thought it would have begun already because it was 2 years later. And then I thought, okay, give it a chance. I printed out the white paper from Satoshi Nakamoto and I put it on my night desk. And then one day, I think it was a couple of weeks later, I went home from a presentation I had as a keynote speaker in Würzburg, and there were 1,000 people. I was doing a presentation for my first book. And I was thrilled. I was on adrenaline and I couldn't fall asleep. And I thought, oh, this will help. It looks boring. It's English and it's a math formula in it. So I think I will sleep after the first few sentences. But the opposite happened. I was thrilled. I was quite awake and I couldn't sleep the whole night. I even woke up my wife and said, hey, that's the solution. I've got goosebumps all over my body. And she said, okay, let me sleep or I get a divorce. So that when I realized Bitcoin is the solution, the next day I bought Bitcoin in 2013. It wasn't that easy in Germany. It was pretty early. Yeah. And since then I'm in the rabbit hole. And I know Bitcoin it's a present from heaven and it's a solution for many problems, not for all, but for many.
Okay, so my second question then is, how did you get to essentially you wrote a book, right, about Bitcoin, and
yes.
How did you end up with doing that? Because that's like a huge thing. It's not an easy thing also.
No, it isn't. Actually, I had an idea writing a big Bitcoin book already in 2013, but my publisher said, no, don't do it. To mention it, I wrote 6 books, and my 7th book, it's a Bitcoin only book, and it's actually I've worked like 2.5 years on it, and it's the biggest work I've ever did. It's 600 pages, but I wanted to look back in history. Why does money always die? And so it's 2,000 years of history of money, and it's actually the perfect case for Bitcoin because it always falters, it always dies because of us, of human and of mankind. So that's why Satoshi Nakamoto took us out of the white paper. That's, you don't have to trust a person, you don't have to trust an emperor or a politician. You trust the code. That's it, and that's why it's so perfect. It's the first time somebody separated the government and the monetary system, and that's the solution actually. And I knew I want to write this book, and the time was mature in 2023, and I published it in 2024 this year, and it's my 7th best-selling book. I'm very grateful because it's the first Bitcoin book in the best-selling list in Germany. It was on rank number 2, which is amazing. It's already the fourth edition of this book, and I also have the audio book now, and I'm really grateful. I think that the time is there. Bitcoin is in the mainstream, and people bought it even if they were not in the Bitcoin space or into Bitcoin, and that's actually the perfect thing. So it took some years, 11 years, but now it's there.
So it's basically a hype. It's a hype. Basically, it's a living standard for some people now. It's not just a thing anymore. People use it. How we actually also should use it.
It's more than a quick getting rich scheme. It's It's a philosophy.
It's a philosophy. Yeah.
It changed my whole life actually, because I was looking for Bitcoin my entire life, to be honest. Because when I was a young child, I prayed every evening. I want to be part of a revolution. I want to be part of the change. I knew as a kid intuitively that something is wrong with this world. You know, I saw my father working the whole day, coming home, being tired. He had no time at the weekend
Yeah.
playing with me or something like that. So the time preference was different, and we all actually invest the most scarce thing we have. It's our lifetime to make money. And if this money gets devalued, if you have a debasement, if the purchasing power goes away through inflation, through taxes and everything, we need a new monetary system. And this monetary system we have right now is not human. You know,
Yeah.
there's no love in it. And Bitcoin is love. Bitcoin is more than making money and a new asset class. Bitcoin is a revolution. Bitcoin is a philosophy. And perhaps some people come into Bitcoin because they want to make money, but the most stay into it because of the philosophy, because they know it's groundbreaking. It's a revolution. That's why I call this book called The Biggest Revolution of All Times, because money is the most important energy and Bitcoin is the new money, and it will bring us into a new future.
Okay. Wow. Final question.
Already? Oh, that's unfortunate. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
I said it was going to be a quick one. So, Bitcoin for me is a peaceful revolution because all the revolutions always have been bloody, and Bitcoin is for me the first and
Yeah,
final one which is not bloody. It's
I
peaceful.
agree.
Do you think that in Germany, especially, or in Europe, where they're currently, how should I call it? They teach our children how to be slaves, right?
Yeah.
It starts already in school. Do you think that we can change that with Bitcoin?
Yes, it's the only solution, the only hope, actually, because, like I described in my book, to establish a new monetary system, the foundation was always a war. So humanity always needs a crisis to learn. Look back in your own history, in your own biography. You always learn if you get hurt. So you need a catharsis. You need the pain, actually. Yeah? Like they say, no pain, no gain. And it's always in the evolution of mankind. We always needed, for example, a crisis to create a new monetary system. And the last time we had it, 1944, the Bretton Woods
Yeah,
monetary
yeah.
system. And the problem was there was a world war before. We needed this fucking world war. We needed this war to create a sound monetary system, because 1944, the dollar was backed with gold. So we had a sound monetary system. And then 1971, they closed the gold window because of another war, and the costs are too high. So that's why they had to close the gold window. And that's why we always need a crisis. And remember, Bitcoin is a child of the financial crisis. So we need this crisis that Satoshi Nakamoto gave us this present from heaven for a better monetary system which separates government and the money. Perfect. So unfortunately, I expect that we always need a crisis to implement a new monetary system. But I think this time we have the chance with Bitcoin that we don't need a revolution, a civil unrest, or war, that we have this peace technology or freedom technology, like a peaceful revolution from the grassroots, from the people, because we can be part of the monetary system since the beginning. We can buy Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if you are gay or not gay, which color your skin has, which religion do you follow, where do you live, if you're rich or poor. Everybody can buy Bitcoin in Indonesia, in Brazil, or even in Berlin or Bern. And this is just amazing. So there are no prejudges. There are no KYC or whatever. There is KYC sometimes, but yeah, but it doesn't judge you. So it's without any prejudges. So, and this is actually the possibility, the first possibility in human history for a peaceful revolution, so that we can establish, implement a new monetary system without a crisis, a war, or a revolution.
Okay, wow, that's an end statement, mate. So,
but I have to add, if you hear the war rhetoric right now in Germany, for example,
yeah.
I'm afraid we will see another war and we will see another crisis, because we are at the end of the cycle, and I describe all the cycles in my book, and I think they're going for war. They're going for war because the debt is too high. The fiat scam is at the end, and they feel it, and they want to keep the power. and they want to get rid of us, and they want to have the control over the monetary system and over us. And that's why I think they want to start a war. And that's why, please be careful, watch out, don't get dragged into war, and try to be for peace.
Cool.
I'm sorry, what that?
No.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Danke.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Nomad Podcast.